Hola chicos, today we're going to discuss the accent marks in Spanish, but also we're going to discuss the tonic syllables in Spanish. So I wanted to make sure that you understand that the accent marks in Spanish are not supposed to make your life difficult, they're supposed to make your life easier. Once you understand how it works, actually, any word that you know how to pronounce, you will know how to spell, and any word that you see written, you will know how to pronounce. All right, so let's go. It should not be that bad. So first of all, the difference is in English, officially, there are no accent marks. In Spanish, officially, there are accent marks. In English, you have quite a few words that are spelled the same, but pronounced differently. For example, complex and complex. They are two different words, they have two different meanings, they have different origin, and yet they are spelled the same. And English does not use any accent marks to distinguish the two. Basically, if you do not know one of those words, you easily can mispronounce it or use it incorrectly in speech, and then nobody can know which one is which by itself. So in Spanish, you have two words, carné and carne. Carné, el carné is the ID card. Carne is the meat. One of them is masculine, one of them is feminine. El carné, la carne. But that accent mark right here helps you to point out that it's a different word when you see them spelled. And if you spelled one of them without the accent mark, then it becomes confusing. So in order to avoid the confusion, Spanish uses the accent marks. That was just an example. All right, so in English, you do not have rules that tell you where the accent should fall. On complex, it's the tonic syllable is the first one, complex. In the case of complex, it is the last syllable and it is E and it is stressed, and why it happens or which one is stressed, there are no rules. In Spanish, there is a natural stress rule, which means that rule number one says if a word ends on a vowel or N or S, they're consonants, but they are lumped together with the vowels, then the stressed or tonic syllable is one before the last, also known as the penultimate syllable. Yeah? And please remember, those are the vowels. Rule number two, if a word ends on a consonant except N and S mentioned before, then the natural accent falls on the last syllable. If the word follows the rule number one or a rule number two, then there is no written accent, which means no written accent in Spanish, it's a norm. Written accent indicates something different than the norm, right? So let's take a look. Rule number one, those are the examples. You have vowels plus N and S. So if a word ends on a vowel or N and S, that is the rule one. Case number one, gato, cat. Does it end on a vowel? Yes. Is it rule one? Yes. Do you pronounce it gato or you pronounce it gato? Gato, gato. No, you don't pronounce it gato, it's gato. So it is the penultimate or one before the last syllable right here, and it's supposed to fall here. And therefore, this word has no written accent mark because the tonic excuse me, syllable is the first, also known in this case as the penultimate. Trabajo. Does it end on a vowel? Yes. So it belongs to the rule one. You say trabajo, you have three syllables. One 2, and 3. In order not to have the written accent, it should fall in here. Trabajo, penultimate. It falls in there. Therefore, the word does not need written accent. Next one is joven. Joven ends on N, so it belongs to the rule 1. In order not to have written accent, the stressed or tonic syllable should be O, joven, which is the penultimate, also known as one before the last. It falls in there, and that's why this word does not have a written accent. Next word is trabajas, because the word could be a noun, could be a verb, could be anything. Trabajas ends on S, so it belongs here. In order not to have the written accent, trabajas, it should fall on the penultimate or one before the last syllable. It falls in there. That's why this word has no written accent. Note that most Spanish words follow the rules, and that's why they do not have written accents. The rule breakers will have them, and we will see it later. Rule 2. Consonants. The consonants are the letters that are not vowels, right? Not A, not E, not E, not O, and not U. All right, you have here doctor. Doctor ends on a consonant, so it belongs to the rule 2. In order not to have the written accent, the stressed or the tonic syllable should be the last one, doctor, and it is, and that's why it doesn't have the written accent. Trabajar. The same rule. It ends on the trabajar consonant, not N, not S. In order not to have the written accent, the stress should fall on the penultimate, or the second in this case, syllable, and it does, and that's why the word does not have the written accent. Reloj ends on J. In order not to have the written accent, the stress or the tonic syllable should be O, penultimate, the last syllable. I just realized I made a mistake. Sorry about that. Trabajar ends on R, and it is the last syllable just in doctor, and reloj is also the last. I'm sorry, it has to fall on the last syllable. And it does, and that's why it follows the rule. It doesn't need the written accent. All right, rule number 3. These two vowels are weak when they are lumped together or used together with other vowels. They do not create a separate syllable, but it is a diphthong. So basically it is one syllable instead of two. And that's why if you have a case like that, then you put the Maria, if it were 3 syllables, and it would be falling on the penultimate, and it would not need the accent mark. But since it has 2 syllables, it has to fall in here in order not to have the accent mark. But it breaks the rule because it is not Maria, but Maria, and that's why you put the accent mark in here. País, you have a diphthong in here. The accent mark, if it were país, then it would not have an accent mark, but it falls on the país, and it falls on the weak vowel in the word, and that's why you indicate it with the accent mark. So it's país has the accent mark. All right, and then finally, rule number 4. If you have 2 words in a language, and you can confuse one and the other, then one of them will have accent mark in order to avoid the confusion. Te would be the direct and indirect and reflexive pronouns in Spanish, and te with the accent mark means t. In order not to mix the two, one of them has the accent mark. It does not affect the pronunciation. Tu is yours, possessive, and then it can be mixed with tu as you, subject pronoun. In order to avoid it, it has the written accent. Me, possessive, mine, and me as for me, the pronoun. In order not to mix them up, you indicate it with the accent mark. I hope it was a useful explanation, and I hope now you will know how to use the accent marks in Spanish, and you will remember the most important thing. If you hear a word, you know how to spell it in Spanish. If you see a word, you know how to pronounce it. Thank you for watching. Write to me if you need any other explanations on the topic. Otherwise, ciao, pescao.